Tu Sam had faced storms before, but never one like this. She stood in front of the small bathroom mirror, holding the pregnancy test in her trembling hands. 2 red lines, clear, undeniable. Her heart pounded so hard she thought it might break through her chest. Pregnant again. Her first instinct was to cry. Not because she regretted it, but because she had no idea how to face it. She was already a single mother raising a small child while trying to rebuild her life from pieces of the past. She had just started to stand on her own feet. She had just begun to believe she deserved happiness, and now this. She sat on the edge of the bed, her vision blurring. Only one question echoed inside her head. Should I tell Ly? Ly, the man who had stepped into her life silently yet firmly. The man who fixed her broken fence, repaired her leaking roof, and never once complained. The man who smiled at her son as if the child were already his own. The man who had once whispered, "Marry me, Sam, let me give you a safe home." She had hesitated back then. She still carried scars from the past, too afraid to trust completely. But now, things were different. This was not just about her anymore. There was a new life inside her. She pressed a hand over her stomach, tears falling silently. Is it his? Yes, without a doubt. There was no one else. But would he believe her? Would he accept it? Or would he think she was trapping him with responsibility? Her phone buzzed suddenly. Ly, I found fresh oranges at the market. I'll bring some over. Your son likes them, right? Her breath caught. He is always so kind, so gentle, so sincere. But kindness was not the same as commitment. And news like this could either bring two people closer or tear them apart forever. She typed slowly. To Sam, Ly, can you come over? There's something I need to tell you. Within seconds, he replied. Ly, I'm on my way. To Sam closed her eyes, whispering to herself. This is it. After tonight, nothing will ever be the same again. The sky was turning orange when Ly arrived at Tu Sam's house. He walked in with his usual warm smile, carrying a small basket of fresh oranges and a box of milk for her son. Sam, he stopped mid-sentence. She was standing in the middle of the living room, pale, restless, her hands clenched so tightly that her knuckles turned white. She didn't smile back. She didn't even say hello. Ly's expression shifted instantly, his gentle eyes narrowing with concern. Sam, what's wrong? She forced herself to speak, but her voice trembled. We need to talk. Those words were enough to make Ly tense. He nodded slowly and put the basket down. All right, he said softly. Tell me. Silence filled the room. Sam tried to find the courage, but her throat tightened. She looked down at her feet, avoiding his gaze. Ly took a step closer. Are you sick? Did someone hurt you? Sam, please, whatever it is, I want to know. She took a deep, shaky breath. Then, before she could change her mind, she whispered, Ly, I'm pregnant. The words hung in the air like thunder. Ly froze. His breath stopped. His expression went blank, as if his mind had momentarily shut down. For a long moment, he said nothing. Sam felt her chest tighten painfully. She quickly lowered her gaze, her voice barely audible. I know this is sudden. I know you weren't expecting it. If you don't want it, I understand. I won't force you into anything. Ly still didn't move. He stared at her, as if trying to process every word. Finally, he managed to speak. Is it mine? His voice was low, careful, not doubting, not accusing, but scared. Sam's eyes widened. She looked up at him, hurt flashing in her gaze. There is no one else, Ly, she whispered. It's yours. Another silence. Ly's hands slowly curled into fists. His lips parted, as if he wanted to say something but no words came out. Sam's heart sank. She thought he would smile. She thought he would hug her. She thought he would be happy. Instead, he was silent, and sometimes, silence hurts more than anger. She turned away, her voice trembling. It's okay. You don't have to say anything. I just thought, you should know. She started to walk past him, but suddenly, Ly's hand closed around her wrist. She froze. Slowly, she turned back. Ly was looking at her, eyes glistening, voice rough with emotion. "Sam," he whispered, "I'm not quiet because I'm angry." He swallowed hard, his voice shaking. "I'm quiet because I don't know if I deserve this." Sam stared at Ly, stunned. Did he just say he didn't deserve it? Her heart, which had been bracing for rejection, softened instantly, but confusion still clouded her eyes. Ly's hand was still wrapped around her wrist, firm yet gentle, as if afraid she might disappear if he let go. He took a shaky breath. "Sam, I've made many mistakes in my life," he said quietly. "I've hurt people, I've failed people, and I've spent years wondering if I was even worthy of a family." His voice cracked, but he didn't look away. "And now, you're telling me there's a life growing because of me? A child. Our child." Sam blinked rapidly, tears threatening to fall again. Ly stepped closer, hesitating for just a moment before resting his hand carefully over her stomach. There was no bump yet, just warmth, just possibility. But to him, it already felt sacred. His voice lowered to a tremble. "I'm quiet because I can't believe it's real. That life is giving me another chance." Sam's eyes glistened. He looked up at her, eyes burning not with fear, but with something stronger. Determination, hope. "Sam, please," he whispered. "Don't shut me out. Let me stay. Let me take care of you. Let me be there for our baby." Her lips trembled. You're not angry." Ly shook his head, emotion heavy in his voice. "Angry?" He gave a soft, breathless laugh. "Sam, I'm terrified. But I'm also the happiest I've ever been." She stared at him, speechless. Then, slowly, hesitantly, she reached up and touched his face, brushing away the tear that had escaped down his cheek. And for the first time since she found out she was pregnant, she breathed freely. "Ly," she whispered, "I was so scared you would leave." He shook his head and pulled her into his arms. "I'm not going anywhere," he murmured against her hair. "Not now, not ever." Sam closed her eyes and let herself sink into his embrace. For once, she didn't resist. For once, she let herself believe. The next morning, Ly kept his promise. He didn't leave Sam's side even for a moment. He made breakfast, swept the yard, and even repaired the broken gate hinge like it was his lifelong mission. To Sam, it felt surreal. Every time she glanced at him, he was already looking back, smiling softly, as if silently saying, "I'm still here." But peace didn't last long, because by afternoon, someone unexpected appeared. Her stepmother. She stood at the gate, hands on hips, eyes flickering with suspicion and calculation the moment she spotted Ly beside Sam. "So," she sneered, "now I understand why you've been hiding here. Living comfortably, having a man take care of you." Sam stiffened, instinctively placing a protective hand over her lower stomach. Ly stepped forward, calmly, but his gaze was sharp. "Please speak respectfully," he said, tone steady. "If you have business here, say it properly." Her stepmother scoffed. "Business? Of course I do. I heard Bick might get her sentence reduced. Someone must have helped with that. You, right?" Ly's expression didn't change, but his silence was enough of an answer. Her stepmother's smirk grew wider. "So that's it. Now that you're doing charity, are you planning to take responsibility for this one too?" She pointed directly at Sam's stomach. Sam's breath caught. Her stepmother knew. She knew. "Is that why you're still hanging on to him?" She taunted at Sam. "Got yourself pregnant so he can't leave you. Tisk, just like your mother. Using pity as a weapon." Sam's hands trembled. Her lips parted, but no words came out. She wanted to scream. To tell her to get out. To never compare her to the woman she had loved and lost. But years of abuse had sewn invisible chains around her tongue. Before the silence could suffocate, Hurley spoke. His voice was low, unshakable. "I'll say this once," he said, meeting the woman's eyes with a level stare. "Sam is not alone. She won't ever be treated like this again. Not by you, not by anyone." Her stepmother raised a brow. "And who are you to say that?" Ly stepped closer, shielding Sam behind him. I am the father of her child, he said firmly, and the man who will protect her for the rest of his life. Sam's breath stopped. Even the wind seemed to pause. Her stepmother stared at Ly for a long moment, searching for doubt, weakness, anything to exploit. But she found none. With a final scoff, she turned away. Fine, we'll see how long that promise lasts. Men always say sweet things before they run. She walked off, muttering to herself, but the damage was already done. As soon as she disappeared from sight, Sam turned away, shoulders shaking. Ly gently reached for her, but she pulled back. Do you really mean it? She whispered, voice raw. Or did you only say that because she was here? Ly was silent. Then, slowly, deliberately, he reached for her hands and placed them over his heart. Sam, he said softly, every word I say to protect you I mean with my life. Tears finally fell down her cheeks. But this time, they were tears of release. Ly froze. For a moment, he could not move, could not breathe, could only stare at Sam as if the world had stopped spinning. His fiancée stood trembling before him, one hand over her stomach, the other clenched tightly as if bracing herself for impact. I'm pregnant, she repeated softly. But, I don't know if it's yours. Silence swallowed the room whole. Rain pounded against the windows. The lights flickered. Somewhere in the distance, a dog barked. Sam lowered her head. If you hate me, I'll leave now. The sound of her footsteps turning away snapped Ly back to life. No. His voice broke as he rushed forward, grabbing her arm. She stiffened, unable to face him. Sam, look at me. She didn't. So he gently turned her around. Tears streamed down her face, but his eyes were calm, firm, decided. It doesn't matter. Sam blinked. What? Ly placed both hands over hers, pressing them gently against her belly. It doesn't matter whose child it is, he said. From this moment on, this baby is ours, and I will protect both of you. Sam's knees gave way. But Ly caught her just as he always had, just as he always said he would. She sobbed into his chest, her entire body shaking. Are you sure? She whispered. People will talk. They'll say I trapped you. They'll call the baby a mistake. Ly silenced her with a kiss to the forehead. Then let them talk, he said. But they'll never say I abandoned the woman I love. At that moment, the front door burst open. Ly's mother, Mrs. Han, stood there with a shocked expression. She had heard everything. Sam panicked and tried to stand, but Ly held her close, refusing to move. Mrs. Han's eyes fell to their joined hands, then to Sam's trembling form. Seconds felt like years. Finally, she exhaled deeply. If this is your decision, Ly. He nodded without hesitation. Then I will prepare the wedding myself. Both Ly and Sam gasped. Mrs. Han walked toward them, her stern expression softening into something almost motherly as she touched Sam's shoulder. You will not enter this family in shame, she said firmly. You will enter as a bride. Sam covered her mouth, crying again, but this time, with joy. Ly wrapped his arms around both women, and for the first time, they felt like a family.